Thank you, everyone. This is a nice opportunity for us. I actually work with Alira Health, and one of the research person, Dr. Basadona, was with me at University of Massachusetts. Just a disclosure, Alira Health is a consulting company, and we collaborate with hospitals to look at the cost of it. 7 seconds. The major purpose of this study was to look at what the reprocessing cost looks like in a hospital when we go through endoscopes organization. We looked at the supply chain, so it's not at all fancy stuff the doctors did over here from the procedure perspective. We looked at the supply chain, and we looked at what are the different costs involved when we are using a reusable endoscope. And putting it back into an OR. As we all know that infection has remained one of the major issues when we are using a reusable endoscope. This has been published throughout literatures, and you see it has been in 2019 the fifth most hazardous incident here in the United States. Following this concern, there has been a lot of reprocessing guidelines that have come across both in the US and worldwide. What we did in our study, we looked at Mass General Hospital. They currently established a new way of reprocessing and a new supply chain of operations of the instruments and the endoscopes going from OR and coming back to the OR. As you can clearly see, there are so many steps involved, which are not only labor intensive, also requires a lot of cost aspects. In our study, I would like to mention that we have not looked at the burden of infection. We have just looked at how the reprocessing cost can be quantified. Moving on to the next one, we looked at a replacement of an endoscopic system as a time period of 3 years. And we looked at doing a 350 procedures for an endoscopic system. What we found that a single-use endoscope, a flexible endoscope, cost around $426 per procedure, as compared to reusables, which are $687. And the other system that we looked at is an endoscopic Sheath system. As you are all aware, there is a Sheath mechanism in which you can prevent from infections. So there was a $550.30 per procedure. What we actually looked at when we did the study, you can look at the processing time, the endoscopic system cost. We'll look at how much manpower is involved. We interviewed all the vendors who supply the materials to the reprocessing unit, and the cost was determined based on that. We also took into consideration the labor bottleneck before you push the endoscope into reprocessing unit of AER. There were certain arguments being made by researchers looking at the sensitivity of it. Many argued that maybe the lifetime of the endoscopic system is much more than 3 years. And many said that they do a lot of less procedures. So we kind of did a price sensitivity analysis. As you can see, even if you decrease the number of procedures per year and increase the lifetime, you are still losing a lot of money. This is just considering the reprocessing cost. We have, once again trying to repeat, we have not looked at infections burden of using a reusable endoscope in this study. So this is the price sensitivity analysis when you look at comparing a single-use endoscope with a reusable one and a single-use endoscope with an endoscopic Sheath system one. We did advance our studies. We are looking forward to further applications of the studies and trying to include infection into our domain. As you can rightly see that this is one of the recent papers which has been published in 2018. You can see that This was a prospective study being done in 3 major hospital systems in the United States. Even after following a proper reprocessing structure as it has been defined with FDA, there were a huge amount of, I would say 22% of endoscopes which shows microbial growth, and that only because of the retained moisture that was there before going into the OR. We have also looked at the literature, like the cost of an infection can range somewhere between 1,500 to 5,000 per episode, but we have not studied it in our study recently. So why we did this? We did this because we are currently developing an endoscopic system. It is not yet approved in the US for commercial use. We are in the application process. This is a micro endoscope with 2 working channels, which are completely disposable systems. This study shows that there has been a lot of opportunities from a costing of such disposable systems. If you can see, the savings are higher. So the study was done considering that endoscopic system to be 400 per disposable endoscopes. So if you tie up the infection angle to it, the pricing of such endoscope and savings to the healthcare system, more importantly, can be much higher. I will stop over there, and I will love to have any questions on the cost part of it.